So, um, this is a this is an afterthought. I wouldn't say this is a documentary video because this is just me reviewing the things I've done, the things I went through throughout the process of me doing my final exam for my bachelor degree. And yeah, so this whole project, the idea of this project, it all came on a random day actually. I was back home in my hometown and I saw this calendar that I'm pretty sure a lot of Chinese households have these. It's something like this. Ouch. Yeah, something like this. You know those rippable ones? Like that. And you have one page for every day, you know? Pretty simple concept. And then I also remember there's this one influencer, her name is Isotrish in Instagram. She used to have this niche where she would rip each like a page off every day in her vlogs. I don't know if she still does that, but back in the days, yes, she did that. Except that her calendars are, how do I say, it has the same concept, you know, the rippable thing, but it has some design to it, you know, and I thought, oh my god, that looks so pretty. Personally, I want to buy it, of course. I feel like it becomes some sort of an interior stuff. It's like a poster, but interactable. I don't know. Anyways, my point is, I wanted it. I went to Shopee, which is Indonesia's most popular marketplace. I was trying to look for it, and I can't find shit. They don't sell it here. The one they sell is, well, these ones, and yeah, they only sell that one. And because of that, that's initially the first, how do I say, you know, that first point where I was like, okay, I want to make a rippable calendar that has some design to it and it looks pretty, because it's pretty, you know. But because this is for an exam, I kind of need a reason of like why I'm making a calendar, you know. I can't just go to my lecturers and say I want to make a calendar because it's pretty and call it the day. No, that's not how it works. I need a problem and how I'm going to solve it with this calendar. Yeah, so I dig deeper and trying to find problems people my age probably struggle with. And the first thing that pops up is, you know, the whole mental health thing. I mean, yes, that's an issue, but it's quite, how do I say it? It's quite a bit overused, in my opinion. And so I thought of it. I mean, it's still health, but instead of mental health, how do I say it's like soul health? I sort of diverted to our physical health, you know, like our physical bodies. I don't know overseas if you guys have these trends, but in Indonesia we have this thing called Remaja Jompo. If you translate it to English, it's called elderly youth. Yeah, that one. And what's that about is basically people during like in their 20s or you know in their 30s, which is supposed to be our prime age, right? But they're already showing signs like joint pains and you know acting like they're 80 or something when they're not. And it's sort of become a trend in Indonesia. It's like a lifestyle now, but if you think about it, that's actually pretty sad, you know? At least in my opinion, I feel like shouldn't we be healthy and stuff? Why are we normalizing this kind of stuff? Why are we normalizing having joint pains when that's not a good thing? That's not healthy, if you see my point. So that was the problem I was about to use. I was going to use that somehow I will incorporate it into the calendar. So I did more research and realized all of this whole Ramadan thing is all tied to habits. And you know, this is such a coincidence, but at the time I was also reading Atomic Habits. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. It's a pretty popular book. And yeah, it connects, you know. Ramadan is a result of bad habits that you keep on doing. And to deflect that, wait, no, to fight that, you simply need to build good habits. Okay, you know, At first, I thought of doing illustration every single day. So 366 days, meaning there will be 366 illustration, and I should finish that in about 2 months. I was confident I could do that at first. I really was. Like, I'm like, you know what? I could draw that. I could draw around how much? Eight to 10 pages every day, nonstop. I was so confident. But yeah, anyways, reality slapped me that I realized that, yeah, probably not in this lifetime. So I decided to split days. There are some days with illustrations, and there are some days with the numeral design, like the one I showed earlier, where there's like just big numbers to show the dates. And yeah, I told that to my teacher, and she approved it. And next, I dig into the whole habit formation thing, which there's like 3 steps, right? The cue, and then the repetition, and then the reward. The cue being the physical appearance of the calendar itself. So when you see it, it sort of become like a cue for you to, you know, do something. And then the repetition, I do it through a to-do list because you want to check it off, you know. Now, the reward part was, it took quite a while for me to figure out. At first, I was about to use the streaks from the to-do list, like if you check thing every single day, and then like you just don't want to break the streaks and kind of give you that satisfying feeling. But then again, I feel like it's not enough, you know. And so of course, I scroll around Pinterest, seeing if like there's any some way I could incorporate a reward system into this. And then I stumbled upon a pretty looking, a Remy card. Yeah, but I always like Remy card designs, you know. And I thought, you know, if I design like Remy cards and then like put them into the calendar, and then like you could collect those cards within 1 year of use, wouldn't that be interesting? But then again, I thought Remy cards have that casino gambling aspect to it. I don't think they'll be good if you use it for a college project. So I changed it up. I changed it to tarot cards at first. But then there's the whole issue with the, you know, how do I say it? Like voodoo. Well, not really voodoo. Like, well, it is like voodoo. And anyway, some people still push those things away, especially in Indonesia, where some people are still quite traditional, right? So I consult about it with my lecturer, and well, shout out to Kak Lilik, because she suggested for me to make my own set of cards. And she said that would it be cool if you make the story that revolve around 24 hours, you know. And from that, I thought about it, and the concept is kind of similar to tarot cards. You see, with tarot cards, some cards have their own meaning, they have their own story, right? So with the 24-hour card that I'm doing, I'm building a story where, for example, at 12 p.m. it's usually lunchtime, right? And then I've made up this like this cute little paragraph that explain, you know, how lunchtime is important to you, and you know, just give a little bit of a gimmick to it, and then with an illustration at the back. And that card will be a collectible thing that you would collect throughout the yearly of use. 24 cards divided by 12 months, so 1 month you get 2 cards. That sounds like a plan to me. And I'll be honest, when I thought of the card idea being the reward, it felt amazing, you know? Because I so far I haven't found anyone else that made that concept, so I was kind of proud of myself for thinking about that. But yeah, so that became the concept, those thing. And yeah, so the whole production process, I'll be honest, I don't quite remember the whole detail of it. It went by so fast, you know, because there's so many things to do. But the first step was definitely designing the character. I started production with that, made this sheet of how do I say it? Face expressions and also some alternative, and consulted with my lecturers like which one do I use. I gave my character like this spiky hair. In real life, I guess like you could call it a wolf hairstyle, sort of, because like I wanted the character to look to pop, you know, to have like edges and just sharp-ish. You'd think, if that makes sense. But at the same time, I don't want the character to look overly sharp. She becomes aggressive looking. So I softened her up with some round lines, some round lines and other round features, just to make it still look friendly. Uh, the character making process went by pretty fast actually. Uh, I got approval for it in a week. I got approval for it pretty fast. And after that, it's moving on to the whole production process of the illustration. Now, the first huge task, the first huge task was probably making the 24-hour cards. Those, it took me around 10 days or like 15 days. Honestly, I couldn't remember it clearly, but it took me quite a while because those cards will be fully rendered, right? It's not like the other illustration that I will be doing for the calendar where they're only using simple colors. This one, it needs to be fully rendered, like full-on illustration. So it took me a while. And at first, because it's a rendered illustration, I sort of got stuck into a perfectionist mindset loop. I know that I have a limited time, but how do I say it? My idealistic thought keeps on wanting to make it look better. I end up spending too much time on one illustration while neglecting the others. That was one of the problem that I stumbled upon in the first place. But yeah, at the end, I sort of suppressed that feeling down and managed to do the whole set. But the first batch, I was not satisfied with it. It looks really flat to me. Even though I showed it to my lecturer and she was like, she finds it all right, but I told her about my feelings, right? How I said like, this is not what I like. It felt flat. It felt empty, and she said, well, that's just your idealistic thought, and maybe if you have some spare time at the end, you could continue rendering it, but for now, it won't be wise for me to keep on pushing that while neglecting my other tons of duties I still have to do. So yeah, I put that aside and begin with the calendar illustration thing. Okay, next in the schedule is making the illustration for the calendar pages. Now the illustration, these ones, it should be simpler, and because I made the base in 3D, right, and I sort of rigged the character so they already have their poses ready, but it was just the base body. There's no hair, there's no outfits or anything yet. I will be doing all of that in 2D software with the traditional digital drawing thing. But the 3D thing does cut my time a lot. Like, it saved me so much time and so much hassle. But still, my point is the quantity of illustration I'll be doing is a lot. So even if I draw like 4 to 6 pages every day, it still took me around 3 weeks or almost 3 weeks more, if I remember correctly, just to finish all of the illustration that I'm about to use. And during those time, it was not enjoyable. Every single day is just repeating the same process. You render the 3D, the basic shape, and then you continue on with the drawing, and then you render, and then you drawing, and then you render, and then you draw every single day, and it's the same character, it's the same color palette. It gets so repetitive, and yeah, it was tiring, it was draining. While I was doing that though, I was also layouting the pages. I made some alternative of the layouts, and I'm just gonna choose a couple of them and use it as a template, so that it'll be, how do I say this? It'll be synchronized along the pages. What? What the fuck? What the Anyways, another thing I struggled with during this time was keeping myself accountable with the schedule, There's since there's no one to tell me to do these things, right? And there's always that how do I say, that little demon in your head that says, you know what, maybe we should not do this today, maybe we should just do it tomorrow. But if I keep doing that, then I will not hit the targeted illustration amount that I want. So I need to keep on pushing myself to draw 6 pages, draw 6 pages, draw 4 pages, draw 8 pages. Of course, there are some days where I end up not drawing and I need to, how do I say it, I need to fill out that gap on the next day, like drawing more. And it was just a tiring process, to be honest. And again, there's that idealistic thought thing that annoyed me very much, because the more you draw every day, you sort of improve the tiniest detail, like the way you draw the hair, the line, the curve, everything, it gets smoother and it felt more flowy the more you draw. But that's the thing, the drawing gets better, but because all of this drawing will be used on the same project, one of my biggest concern was some illustration will look different, like the one you draw at the beginning and then the one you draw at the very last. I noticed there's some, there are some differences, and yeah, that was pretty concerning. I have some time left at the end, so I end up refining it just to make them look synchronized and not like it's made by two completely different people. Yeah. Other than that, I also continue rendering the 24-hour cards I did earlier, and the before and after. Oh, it's a huge difference. I'm so thankful that I had time to render it still, because looking back to the base, oh my god, what the hell. I'm so glad I didn't keep on going with that, It just looks so unfinished. I rendered it and yeah, it turned out great. And other than that, so I guess you could say that's all for the main project. Of course, there are the layouting things, but the layouting process actually went by pretty fast because I already determined the 2 templates that I'm going with, and then I just copy paste the whole thing, changing the numbers for the months, changing the font, not font, the quotes, and also there's this percentage bar that I'm making, and also the other things. It went by pretty fast, repetitive, but not as tiring as the drawing process. Yeah. After that, though, I did end up doing other things. I made this, like, how do I say this, a side project that still goes along the main calendar. So I made, like, the main calendar is like a daily version, right? You have a page for every day. This other version, wait, where is it? Oh, there it is. The side thing, it's still a calendar, but it's like the monthly version. I just realized I haven't showed you guys the daily version. It's at the back. I'll show you guys at the end of the video. But this is the monthly version. Pretty simple. And at the back, there are these stuff. I actually got inspiration for this from this book I'm using, Goal Getter. I bought it from Typo. So it has this feature where after every week, you kind of have this like this week in review thing. So you could write in what went well, what didn't go to plan, and then like grateful for what, help focus, and other things, Me personally, I enjoy writing this because when you're busy, when you have a lot of things you're doing, sometimes you tend to forget the small little things that makes you happy, Like in my book, for example, last week I went out with my friends and I could literally forget about the whole event. So by writing this down, and then like sometimes when I'm sad or when I feel like I don't know, my life have no purpose and my life have no meaning, you know, those type of thoughts, I just open this book and read it, and yeah, it made me feel better about myself. So from that, I incorporated into this calendar, but the monthly version. There's like what went well, what didn't went to plan, grateful for, you know, the same thing with the goal getter. But I also add a new one I personally like is what did we learn this month? And then there's also like a feature where the you rate your month. It sounds a bit weird, but I don't know. Can you rate your month? Personally, I could rate my month, but well, it's just a little gimmick thing. And yeah, that was one of the first side project that I did. Other than that, I also did a bandana. Oh my god, where is it? I, oh my god, can you see it? So I draw a bandana. Wait, I designed a bandana. Yeah, that's the correct wording. These are so pretty. I don't know what I was about to say, but this is what it looks like. Like this is the pink version, and then the other one is has the same design but black, like dark mode. Yeah. You know, I actually really enjoy making this bandana because I find the illustration very cute. There's the same character that I use on the calendar, but this one is the chibi version. You know, maybe like this is an example. This is the first draft that I made. Yeah, this is the first draft. Yeah, this is the character, like the original version, and this is the chibi version. Both still have the spiky hair, but yeah, different but same, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I really love making the bandana actually, and I actually, well, personally, I enjoy working with cloths, right? So, this was a lot of fun. The monthly calendar, I actually enjoy it a lot too. And other than that, I did a lot of experiments with printing the acrylics. Oh my god, that one took so long because you need time to cut the acrylics, right? So I need to keep on going back and forth with the seller. Sometimes you meet sellers that are so like they don't know basic knowledge of communication. I don't know, it was so confusing, to be honest. It was so stressful. Honestly, one of the biggest challenges throughout this whole exam is communicating with sellers, especially the ones that just, how do I say that, doesn't understand common language. Yeah, that part was so stressful. uh I did not enjoy that part. Now, all of that aside though, I should probably show you guys the main thing. I just realized that, but all of this rambling and I didn't even show you guys the final product. This is what it looks like. Side profile, front profile, back profile. Oh god. Yeah. It's a calendar. It's not the rippable ones, but it has the same concept with one page for it every day. Oh my god, I'm actually gonna put this here. This thing is pretty heavy. I don't know if it'll show up in camera, but that's what it looks like. So, there are 366 pages in this thing. That's why it's so heavy. And oh my. Anyways, so there are 366 pages in this thing, and also there's the 24-hour card being slipped into it. Like, for example, let me find one. Okay, there it is. Okay, it's here. This is one of the special days. I call it a gift day, where you would have the card and you could just, oh fuck, like you could take it out and boom, you got the cards. I don't know if you could see it, but it's glittery as well. So how pretty is that? There's the illustration and then the little story I mentioned, you know? And then this whole set, you'll collect it after like 1 year of use. And these pages are spread on random days along the year. And yeah, you just collect them. It's like every day is a gacha for those cards, because that's one of the simple way to explain it. I also added this marks for at the start of the month, so that if you want to find a specific day, you could, it'll be easier for you, since like there's like, this is so thick. If there are no marks, I think it'll be tricky to find someday. Yeah. Yeah. um I feel like throughout this video I got way more excited explaining the side things rather than the main things, to be honest. But still, after this is done, like, I must admit, maybe like it's because I was too the time that I was given to make this was definitely too short. I felt a lot of pressure making this, and wow, looking back, like looking at it right now, it makes me feel, how do I say this? Like, I can't even show you guys the whole page, because like there's so much. And I mean, look at it. There's so many pages, and I did all of this in 1.5 months in total. 2 months. 2 months or 1.5 months. Let's just say 2 months, so that why not? I don't know. This is definitely one of the biggest project I've worked on so far, and I can't even say that I'm happy. It's like, happy is too shallow of a word to describe this. It's like, how do I say it? Like, I made this, like, I'm relieved that it's done. I looked at it, and that state where you're still in disbelief. If that's like, I have no words for it. I'm happy, of course, but it's more than that. I'm so proud of myself that this actually finished. First of all, that, and the amount of adjustment that goes through, the amount of experiments I did with the paper materials, the amount of size thing. I changed the size a lot. This is like the smaller version. At first I was going with the big ones, but then for desk calendar, I don't want it to block the monitor, so I choose to use a smaller version. My point is, there's a lot of thought that I put into this, and this was such an accomplishment for me personally. Like, I learned so much. I mean, I learned time management. I learned like how to deal with troubling people. And there's so many, like, there's ridiculous amount of time where you need to solve problems, because I can't even explain the amount of problems I have. There's just so much. There's so much I literally forgot about it. Like, it just went by, because all of that struggles, all of the amount of days where I'm stressed about this project, I worried so much that it won't be done, but it's done. And I also made some pretty cool side stuff that turns out amazing. And yeah, I feel like this is like a good wrap for university, my college chapter. Other than me, of course, I also saw my friend's project. I feel like everyone just put maximum effort in their stuff, and it was memorable, being like us being an artist and putting our whole soul into a project that we all together worked on for quite some time too. And yeah, I'm glad that this chapter happened. I'm happy with how it's closing up now, how it's wrapping up now. And other than that too, of course, I would like to thank everyone, like my friends, of course, which I questioned them so many times for this project. Like I asked for their opinion. There's like there's one question that was pretty funny. So I asked if drinking, like the sound effect from drinking is gulp gulp or gulp gulp. And I asked about it in like midnight or something. I thought it was funny. I really thought it was funny, and I just asked so many ridiculous questions, and it was enjoyable. All of their opinions help form this thing, and without those those little interactions, this wouldn't have existed. Like I don't even know what it would look like if I work on this alone in my room and never ask for anyone's opinion. But yeah, I'm really grateful for all of the inputs. Of course, I yap about this with my mom too. I asked about her opinion and stuff, and with my sister too. And yeah, I shared the whole progress and with my parents, with my dad, my mom, my sister, everyone really. And it was great. I just feel like everyone grew together throughout this process, and yeah, it's a good wrap for university, college time. I'm repeating my words. Oh my god. How do YouTubers do this, man? Like, I have a script on my screen right now, but still, like, I don't want to follow the script because if I were to follow the script, my eyes would be there all the time. But I'm trying to look at the camera too, so yeah. This has been a great time, and I appreciate everyone that helped me through this. I appreciate everyone's opinion. I appreciate everyone's input, and appreciate. Well, I'm grateful that these happened, and yeah. Thank you for watching.